Hello everyone, welcome to RPIIT. This side Parmeet Kaur, HOD from CSE department. Today we are going to discuss round robin scheduling in operating system. In round robin scheduling, we use time quantum or time slices. Here we have time quantum of 4 milliseconds. That means each and every process will run maximum to maximum 4 milliseconds in one turn. Here we have processes, arrival time and burst time that is given. And we need to calculate the completion time, turnaround time and waiting time of these 4 processes with the help of this time quantum. That means each and every process will run max to max 4 milliseconds in one turn. Let's begin. First of all, we need to check the arrival time. Arrival time of P1 is 0. We begin with 0 with process P1. Now we need to check the burst time of P1. Here the burst time of P1 is 18. Now we need to check the time quantum. Here we have 4 millisecond time quantum that is given. That means we need to run P1 max to max 4 millisecond in one turn. That means 0 to 4 millisecond. That means P1 equals to 18 minus 4. That means P1 is left with 14 millisecond. Now we need to proceed with second arrival time, that is first millisecond, 1 millisecond. That is P1's arrival time is 1 millisecond. Now we start with, P2 arrival time is 1 millisecond. We start with P2. And the burst time of P2 is 5 millisecond. Now again, in P2, we will run 4 millisecond. Here we run 4 millisecond. 4 plus 4 is 8. And 1 millisecond is left of P2. And P1 is 14 millisecond. Now, we need to execute the third process, that is P3. Burst time of P3 is 9 millisecond. Again P3 will run max to max 4 millisecond in one turn. That means 9 minus 4 is 5 milliseconds left of P3. Now we run P4. Again, we run max to max 4 millisecond. 12 plus 4 is 16 millisecond. And P4 is left with 7 minus 4, that is 3 millisecond. Now all the processes have run once. Now we need to start the process again from P1. Now we start with P1 again. Here we have 14 millisecond of P1. Now we run 4 millisecond again in one turn. That means 20 millisecond here. 14 minus 4 is 10. Now P1 has left with 10 millisecond. Now after P1, we start P2. That is 1 millisecond. That means 20 plus 1 is 21 millisecond. P2 has completed its 5 milliseconds. Now we execute P3. Here we have 5 milliseconds that is left in P3. Now we execute again the last 4 milliseconds. That means 25 milliseconds of P3. Again 5 minus 4 is 1. P3 was left with 1 millisecond. Now we run P4. Here we have P4, 3 millisecond. 25 plus 3 is 28 millisecond. P4 is also completed. Now we need to start from the beginning again. Now here's P1. P4 is completed. Here we have P1 with 10 millisecond. P1 with 10 millisecond. Now we run here 4 millisecond. 28 plus 4 is 32 milliseconds. 10 minus 6, 10 minus 4. P1 is left with 6 milliseconds. Now after P1, P2 is already executed, P4 is already executed. We need to start with P3, that is 1 millisecond. That is left with 1 millisecond. So we run P3. One millisecond. After that, we will now P3 is also executed. The only P1 is left with 6 milliseconds. But according to time quantum, we need to process it in two terms. That means after 33, P1 will execute 33 plus 4 is 37 milliseconds, and again 6 minus 4. P1 is left with 2 milliseconds. Again we start P1 and execute the remaining 2 milliseconds. That is, it will completed with 39 milliseconds. That means P1 is completed with 39 milliseconds. Here it is very clear that all the processes are completed by using the time quantum. That means each and every process is carrying 4 milliseconds maximum to maximum. They can execute with 4 milliseconds. Now we can calculate the completion time of these processes. First one is P1. P1 is completed at 39th millisecond. Here we can see P1 is completed at 39th millisecond. 39th millisecond. Now we need to check P2. P2 is completed at 21 millisecond. Now P3 is completed at P3 is completed at 33 milliseconds. And now we need to check P4. P4 is completed at 16th millisecond. P4 is completed at 28 milliseconds. 28 milliseconds. Here it is. Now, here we have completion time of all the 4 processes. Now we can calculate the turnaround time with the help of completion time. That is completion time minus arrival time. 39 minus 0 is 39. 21 minus 1 is 20. 33 minus 2 is 31. 28 minus 3 is 25. Now, we have calculated the turnaround time of these 4 processes. Now we need to calculate the waiting time of these 4 processes. By calculating the turnaround time, subtracting turnaround time from burst time. Here we have turnaround time of P1 is 39 minus burst time of P1 is 18. 39 minus 18 is 21. And P2's turnaround time is 20. 20 minus 5 is 15. P3's turnaround time is 31 and burst time is 9. 31 minus 9 is 22. Turnaround time of P4 is 25. 25 minus burst time of P4 is 7. 25 minus 7 is 18. So, here we have calculated the waiting time of all the 4 processes. Now we need to calculate the average time of turnaround time and waiting time. Now we need to calculate all the 4 processes. Average turnaround time equals to 39 plus 20 plus 31 plus 25. 39 plus 20 plus 31 plus 25 divided by total number of processes. Here we have 4 processes, P1, P2, P3 and P4 divided by 4. That is 115 divided by 4, that is 28.75. 28.75. And the average waiting time is average waiting time is 21 plus 5, sorry, 25, 21 plus 15, 21 plus 15 plus 22 plus 18. 22 plus 18 divided by total number of processes, that is 4. Here we have 76, that is divided by 4. Here we have 19 milliseconds. Average waiting time of all these processes 19 milliseconds, and the turnaround time of average turnaround time of all these processes are 28.75 milliseconds. That is how we can calculate round robin scheduling. Thank you everyone. Kindly like and subscribe our RPIIT channel. Thank you.